Bridgerton has become a juggernaut for Netflix's arm of original content, and the period romance only saw its viewers surge in Season 3. The series sees each season focus on a different member of the Bridgerton family as they fall in love. While the first 2 seasons were about Daphne, Phoebe Dynevor, and Anthony, Jonathan Bailey, the third season belongs to Colin, Luke Newton, and family friend Penelope Featherington, Nicola Coughlan. Penelope's feelings for Colin have always been obvious, but it's Season 3 that really forces Colin to see Penelope in a new light. By the time of Season 3, Episode 3, Forces of Nature, Penelope is committed to finding a husband. She might have made her debut in society a year earlier than other young women, alongside Daphne in Season 1, but she decides that she does not want to be relegated to the role of her mother's caretaker as a spinster. Colin offers to help her become more comfortable speaking with potential suitors, and the fallout of the rest of society discovering his help is where the third episode picks up. Colin's eyes are finally open to Penelope in Episode 3. His open eyes coincide with the emergence of a real suitor. The episode opens with a dream sequence that is right out of a romance novel. If anyone thought the kiss that Colin and Penelope shared at the end of Episode 2 would not immediately affect him, the dream throws that idea out the window immediately. Following the dream, Colin is awkwardly proclaiming the family's friendship with Penelope when anyone talks about her, and generally unraveling in her presence. It's fantastic and really sells the comedy of the season and the fact that Colin and Penelope have a relationship straight out of a modern romantic comedy, even if their story takes place in Regency-era England. The audience gets a buffet of romantic comedy moments from the two in this episode. Penelope and Colin awkwardly talk for the first time since their kiss, neither admitting to their feelings for one another, and agreeing to stop their lessons in snagging a husband so that they do not embarrass their families further. Colin also ogles Penelope eating a piece of cake and broods while she hits it off with new character Lord Alfred Debling. Colin spends so much time wrestling with his own feelings that it's very clear his heart is not in any of the festivities in the episode. Even when the Mundrishes, who are finally donning their own wardrobe and being themselves in society, tell Colin they approve of him helping Penelope and call him gallant, all Colin can think about is the fact that Penelope could marry someone else. It is written all over his face in every scene he is in. Debling, for his part, is one of the only members of society, apart from Colin and Eloise, prior to this season, who seems to appreciate Penelope for who she is. He finds something of a kindred spirit in her as they are both ostracized by most of society, him for his conservation efforts and vegetarianism and her for scandalously getting Colin to help her better fit in. Debling feels like a real possible match for Penelope, even in his brief appearances in this episode. Even the audience who has not read the novels on which Bridgerton is based knows that Colin and Penelope are going to end up together. They are the characters whose love story was promoted in announcing the season. That does not mean that Penelope should not find her personality and her presence validated by another suitor. She has always been the butt of her family's jokes, an outsider to society, and the target of Cressida Cowper's cruelty. Penelope deserves to be seen. In fact, Penelope deserves to be seen, and Colin has had years to see her. Debling sees her within moments. Actor Sam Phillips reflected on that very idea while promoting the series. Even if Debling does not see himself as odd, he knows the rest of society does, and he has that in common with Penelope, an understanding of what it is like to be on the outside of society looking in, while not being seen for who you truly are. Via Shondaland, it took Colin spending time with Penelope alone during their lessons in the previous episode and kissing her to realize what he had been missing out on. So it's great to see Colin spiraling as he discovers the very real possibility that he could lose her. He has always appreciated Penelope and held a special place for her in his life, but now he understands why. This is underscored by his talk with Violet late in the Bridgerton episode. He wonders about friendship as a foundation for a relationship, attempting to cover up his interest by talking about Francesca trying to find a match this season. Violet clocks Colin's clumsy attempts at seeking out advice because he immediately looks at Penelope. Violet is very perceptive when it comes to the feelings of her children, and Ruth Gemmell makes it very clear with a glance that she is rooting for Colin and Penelope despite Penelope chatting with Debling across the party. Francesca is overwhelmed by her sparkler status. Francesca seeks the easiest path to a husband. Victor Ali as John Sterling, Earl of Kilmartin, and Hannah Dodd as Francesca Bridgerton in Bridgerton Season 3 Episode 4. Colin and Penelope dancing around their feelings for one another is not the only romance of Season 3, or even of Episode 3. After the Queen calls Francesca her sparkler, Francesca is feeling the pressure. She is the most introverted of the Bridgerton siblings, so society events are difficult for her, and that's never made clearer in this episode, as Hannah Dodd's portrayal of Francesca is very different from that of Ruby Stokes in the first 2 seasons. Younger sister Hyacinth, always intrigued by society and romance, asks Francesca how she will choose who to dance with at the ball, since she now has so many suitors. Francesca pragmatically answers, "Perhaps I will go alphabetically," but there is also just a hint of sarcasm there since the Bridgerton children are named alphabetically, and these small moments of Francesca letting her feelings out are great. Francesca does eventually get introduced to a potential suitor, and while she is sure that Queen Charlotte will pick the right person for her, the audience is going to side with Violet here. Violet wants love for all of her kids, and she sees immediately that Francesca wants to take the easiest path to finding a husband by letting the Queen find her one. That's clearly not the answer, as the Marquis the Queen matches to her also has a large family and wants 8 kids of his own, and Francesca just wants some quiet. That is why one of the best scenes of the episode, outside of the rom-com of Colin and Penelope's relationship, comes in the form of Francesca meeting a man outside alone who allows her to simply stand next to him and enjoy the quiet away from the crowd of the ballroom. As the two steal glances at one another and decompress from the pressure of the ball, it's clear that without knowing anything about the man that they are a better match than anyone Francesca has spoken with so far. Lady Danbury deals with an unexpected guest. Marcus Anderson makes his first appearance. Lord Marcus Anderson, Lady Danbury and Lady Violet Bridgerton talk in Bridgerton Season 3 still. Queen Charlotte places a lot of trust in Lady Danbury. She enlists the other woman's counsel while trying to decide who she should match Francesca Bridgerton with. After all, she declared her the